Okay, we're going to pick it with part 2 of my monkey bread. Oh, well, I'm calling it Chihuahua bread because I've got 4 Chihuahuas. I don't have any monkeys, and I'm going to tell you my Chihuahuas are more fun than a barrel of monkeys. What we've mixed up the dough early, and we've set that aside and let that rise for an hour. I'll retrieve that in a minute. But we were going to prep our pans. So I've got little mini bundt pans. Instead of, if you're doing a cake, you usually will use the Crisco shortening, grease the pan, and then you'll dust it with plain flour so the cake doesn't stick. Some people use parchment paper, but the old school way is, Crisco and plain flour. To prep for monkey bread, you're going to use melted butter to grease the pan, and then you're going to dust it with your cinnamon sugar mixture. For my cinnamon sugar mixture, I've got 2 cups of brown sugar, 2 cups of white sugar, and 6 tablespoons of cinnamon. So I've got to mix this together. We'll save time on the video, and I'll do that now. Okay, my cinnamon and sugars mixture has been made up. My butter has been melted in the microwave. I've got my pastry brush here, so we're going to put that to the side. You look like, wow, that's a lot of sugar, Miss Martha. I know, because we're not only going to prep the pans with it, that's what we're going to roll the dough out with so it doesn't stick to the pastry board, so we can cut it into little pieces. And then we roll each little piece into a little ball for the little monkey bread, because it's monkey bread, is the one with Chihuahua bread. It's where you pull a little piece off. You can eat a little piece, pull a little piece off. You don't have to slice it. So each little ball has to be dumped in the cinnamon sugar. When we roll it out with cinnamon sugar instead of using flour. So that's why it looks like so much of it. And then what's left, after we have it in the pan and it goes off for its second rise, we're going to make the glaze. Okay. So we're going to take our pastry brush, our melted butter, and we're going to grease our pans. Then we're going to coat them with cinnamon sugar. I'll save time on the video. Okay, so your pan should look like this. I also have some pecans that I've crushed up. Some people don't put pecans on their monkey bread, but mine's Chihuahua bread, and I'm putting pecans on it. You're going to put a little bit in the bottom of the pan, because when you dump it out, that'll be the top of the loaf. And we're going to save these back, because as we're putting in dough, butter, cinnamon sugar, dough, butter, cinnamon sugar, we're going to do little pecans around the edges. Let me go retrieve my dough. Okay, the same principle applies to the pastry board as does to the baking tins. Instead of using the flour to roll it out with, we're going to put a little bit of melted butter down on our pastry board. We're going to put a little bit on top of the dough, melted butter. Away. A little bit of cinnamon sugar. A little bit of cinnamon sugar on top of our dough. And we're going to dump our dough out onto our pastry board. Come on in. Come on in. There you go. There, come on. Sticky there. Okay. Clean my hand up real quick. All right, we've got to put a little bit of the melted butter on top of the dough. A little bit of cinnamon sugar. We're going on a rolling pin, and we're going to stretch it out. We'll pick back up. You should be able to spread it out enough to cover up your pastry board here. What is this, like 24 by 20? Looks about like that size. All right. Now we're going to cut it into strips. And we'll go back and cut it this way too, so we're going to kind of help ourselves have the uniform size to the little balls that we're going to pick up and roll. I'll pick back up on the video. Okay, I've got them all cut this way, and I've done one this side, so I can pinch off my little piece. You probably could have just pinched off pieces without doing it that way, but this makes it more uniform. Even though I'm just a home cook, I'm not preparing this for some kind of banquet. I'm not trying to make this to sell to anybody. It's for my family. So, all right, you're going to roll the little dough into it's a little bit smaller than a ping pong ball. Doesn't have to be precisely rolled. It can have little creases in it. You're gonna dust it through your cinnamon sugar mixture real quick. You're gonna put it in your pan. Pick up your next little hunk, roll it in between your hands, roll it through the cinnamon sugar, put it in the pan. And so on and so on and so on until you've used up your dough and you've filled your 2 pans. But now remember, as we get 1 layer in, we're going to add some little pecans around the edges. So I'll pick back up at that point. Okay, I got my first little layer of the monkey balls, or chihuahua balls in here. I'm going to add some pecans to it. I'm going to brush a little bit with the melted butter. We're going to go back and repeat. We're going to roll another layer, more pecans, more melted butter, another layer, so on, so on, so on, both pans full. I might even have some extra that I'll put in and I'll make a little cinnamon twist or something. I'll show you whatever I have left of my dough, what I'm going to do with it. It's fun to be in the kitchen. You just be creative. Okay, 1 pan's almost done. I won't finish the top layer because I want to make sure I get them at least, I don't want to have this one so much larger than that one. I want them to be equal size. So I've got to start filling up the other pan first before I do the top layer. It's a messy job. Okay. Both pans are full of monkey bread or chihuahua bread. They'll go in a warm place to rise for about 30 minutes and then we'll put them in to bake. While we're waiting for the bread in the pan to rise, my leftover sugar, my pecans, my melted butter, I'm going to go in a saucepan on the stove top and we're going to make the glaze. As if it's not already ooey gooey enough, it's going to put it over the top for holiday serving. So our glaze just needs a little dash of salt. Okay. And we'll keep stirring this until all it's melted. It's not quite at the softball stage, which we've talked about that several times. It usually means you're going to let it cook about 10 minutes. So I'll pick back up with you in a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put a ladle's worth of my topping on top of each one ladle's worth on each pan. Then we're going to put them in the oven is preheated at 350 degrees. Put it in there to bake for 30 minutes. I can get a second ladle's worth. Let's see. I don't want it all bubbling up and over and making a big mess in my oven. Won't that be fun to clean up? Okay. We're going to reserve this back because, you know, once you dump it out, you don't want it to all run off. If you've lost all of your glaze into the bread, you want a little bit to put back on top of it when you've plated it up. So don't throw this away yet. All right, we'll put it in the oven to bake. And then we'll pick back up. Let's take them out the oven. Whew. Yeah, look at that. Can you see? Beautiful. They've got to cool a little bit before I can dump them out and show you how beautiful they look. Monkey bread, yum yum. It's like little bitty handheld pecan pies when you start peeling off little pieces of it. I love monkey bread. I don't make it that much because, you know, the older we are, we have to watch the calories that we eat. But Thanksgiving's coming up, so you can make this ahead. You can go ahead and you can freeze it in a big Ziploc bag, and then you can pull it out the night before, let it thaw it on the counter, wrap it in aluminum foil that morning, put it in the oven to warm up while you're getting all your other little stuff organized, because, you know, Thanksgiving Day, you're in the kitchen all day anyway. You don't want to have to be sitting there spending all morning doing breakfast. You want to go ahead and get the turkey on, get the sides on, all that kind of stuff. So this will be perfect that morning, if it lasts. If my guys come in from work, they don't eat all of it. We'll see. Okay, gonna have to cool before I can dump them, or they'll just all crumble like a sandcastle right now. But that's my monkey bread bite. Delicious. Tastes like the holidays. I hope you'll make it yourself. Enjoy.